most of the time it's not unemployment is not just a function of there are no jobs. There's also a large segment of unemployment that comes about as a result of lack of skill or lack of requisite skill. The unemployment is there because, frankly speaking, over 60, probably 70% of most jobs are never advertised. They are never advertised. So most people would think, oh, there are no jobs because their jobs are not advertising. They are not advertising because they don't even think they will get good candidates. In this episode, we'll be discussing how Ghana and other African nations of its type can solve their endemic youth unemployment problems. That's a huge headache that most countries have, and use Ghana as a case study, in the sense that a few years ago I started a business in Ghana, and I needed to hire I think it was a finance assistant or something like that, and a marketing guy. So I quickly send the job description onto job boards in Ghana, and I kid you not, for one opening I had 387 or so applicants for just one job. And the other one, the marketing one, I had like 260 plus applicants. And at that point, I think that was like a couple of years back. It's not too, probably about three years or so. And I was blown away. I was actually literally shocked by the volume of applications that I needed to go through. And out of curiosity, I wanted to go through all of them, because I was quite new to the system, so I needed to learn as quickly as possible. So one of the things that I noticed, that close to 60%, if not more, were overqualified for the positions. Then it dawned on me that, wow, the level of youth unemployment that is prevailing in the country is huge. This is no kid's joke. I mean, for one position, for 380 plus people to apply, that is crazy. So I started to think, and I started to do a lot more searching and researching and that kind of thing. So I started to talk to other business owners and entrepreneurs, and the trends were the same. No jobs. So eventually, I did all the interviews, selected the right candidates that I thought, did my due diligence and everything, selected the right ones that I thought out of the 385 and the 260 plus. Actually, 387 or so. Then, within a few weeks, it wasn't even up to a month, I noticed something very, very obvious. And that is the skill set of even the ones that I selected. I did phone interviews, I did call them in. We had a lot of sit-down interviews with, I whistled the list down, and then to the best candidates that I thought, could do the job. And then eventually, when I selected them, and a few weeks in, I noticed that, wow, they didn't have adequate skills to do what I wanted them to do. So, for instance, the finance guy didn't know jack about spreadsheets. I was shocked. I said, so you have a college degree, you even have 18-month worth of experience. So how did you do your job? He said, oh, my previous job, it was just paper accounting that we did. So you just write this, try balance, you write it and write that, do petty cash and you write. So I said, so you didn't really put things into systems and things. He said, oh yeah, it was only payroll that we had some kind of customized solution that we used to process payroll. Apart from that, everything was manual. So I said, okay, what about your degree? Didn't they teach you about, if you're into finance, your ability to manipulate spreadsheets must be like a kid with candy. That is your tool of trade. So if you come out of university and you can't manipulate spreadsheets and you did a finance major, then frankly speaking, you wasted money and you wasted time. I told them jokingly. So I knew that, look, if the best that I had at that time were having problems with skill set, I knew that the other 300 and something plus definitely had issues with skill. And the more I talked to other entrepreneurs, the more I realized that that was an issue. So in peeling the onion, I got to know from talking to other entrepreneurs is that sometimes the entrepreneurs are beside themselves. They just don't want to hire. Not that they do not need the staff. They do need, but they normally would go with the existing staff base they have because they have held up a certain kind of belief that, look, even if I go waste my time trying to recruit, fresh guys into the team, they are not going to be any better anyway. They're just going to come and waste my time, and they want me to train them. And most businesses in Africa and actually in Ghana do not like to train you, or do not like to train the employee. It's not like in Western nations that they have proper training regimens and things in place. From my experience, most businesses do not have either the resources to train or the appetite to train. They want the candidate to come in already baked, good to go, hit the ground running. But these candidates that are coming, especially entry-level positions, they are not there yet. They are not there yet. So with time, I decided, okay, since I had a little bit of bandwidth and I actually enjoy training anyway, I enjoy mentorship. That's a personal trait. Took it upon myself, train them on the technical side, train them on the soft skill side, train them, and few months here and there, and then they are somewhat good to go. Even then, there's always the need to train. Right? So, in looking at it, I realized that most of the time, unemployment is not just a function of there are no jobs. There's also a large segment of unemployment that comes about as a result of lack of skill or lack of requisite skill. The unemployment is there because, frankly speaking, over 60, probably 70% of most jobs are never advertised. They are never advertised. So most people would think, there are no jobs because their jobs are not advertising. They are not advertising because they don't even think they will get good candidates. That is one of the major reasons why companies in Ghana do not that's one of the major reasons why they do not advertise for jobs. Whereas the major reason why they do not recruit is that they don't have much hope in the candidate pool they get. But if a candidate will approach an organization and show them and demonstrate the right skill, even if they do not have a place or they do not have an opening, they will create one. Right? So, in terms of policy, in terms of nation, how do you mitigate all these things and try to improve employability or employment or youth unemployment in the country? To me, it boils down on skill. If our youth can be retooled and they can be reskilled, it will open a whole floodgate for them to get employed. And I look at it from three key areas. The first one is for those that I just described. There must be the appetite that if organizations are not going to do it, or the colleges are not going to do it, then government or through government partnerships must come up with ways by which fresh graduates, especially right before they enter into national service, or actually even the first 3-4 months of national service, if there's a comprehensive training program available to these people, whereby they are retrained in the area of soft skills. Soft skills basically are skills that actually they typically are not taught in school. They're just common sense skills that are relevant to the workplace, right? So things like communication skills, teamwork, flexibility, desire for continuous learning, problem solving, and critical thinking skills. Those kind of things. So that the candidate is actually ready to work. Then from there, we expose them to digital skills. So digitally training them in how to manipulate spreadsheets, how to design slides, how to organize data, present data, some kind of digital marketing here and there, and all these kind of things that in this day and age as well, we have data visualization. That if there's a platform, and I mean a digital platform, where government invests in programs like that, a centralized system, that they push out this kind of content, world-class training content, and make it available to every student once they finish university. And for the first 3 months, I would even take it a step further, that government can even mandate it, that if 6 months within your national service you haven't gone through that training program, then you will not be paid your stipend, or the candidate will not be paid their stipend from month 7 onwards. So the moment they enter into national service, the program is made available, a platform that all that information is there, that they go and they train. And after they train, they are issued with a certificate, right? Whether digitally or manually, whatever it is. Then if by month 6 they have not registered, or they have not trained or completed their training, then their stipends will be suspended until they finish the training. I tell you, that act alone will push a bunch of ready-made workforce into organizations all over the place. That would even equip them with a skill to be able to even do outsourcing back office jobs for Ghanaians in the diaspora, or for companies outside Ghana. And that will bring in relevant foreign exchange into the economy. It shouldn't just end there. There are certain core skills that these days you don't actually even have to go to university to have core skills. Things like programming, coding, right? I talked about data visualization, but if you want to go into things like, if you want to introduce things like artificial intelligence, machine learning, graphic design, front-end design, back-end design, those kind of things, project management, especially concepts like the Kaizen concept in project management, things like like training people to be like Scrum managers or product developers or product developer for software, and product developer or product manager for software, and even for construction projects. These days, you don't need to have a 4-year degree to be able to do these kind of things. Typically, short courses, 6 months, they get certified, and immediately they have the ability to work for an organization, whether part-time or full-time. It doesn't matter, right? So, but that system must be made available so that these people are well equipped and prepared to jump into the workforce, because currently they aren't. The second bucket that we're looking at is especially for our younger brothers and sisters who couldn't go through formalized education, right? So the ability to read and write is a little bit curtailed, or they didn't go to school at all. These people, you see a lot of kids all over the place doing nothing. We can train them the nation can train them in some kind of artisanal skills. So like masonry, electrician, carpentry, auto mechanic, air conditioning, and the likes, right? Bead making, mushroom farming, greenhouse farming, those kind of things. But the way to do is that you have to get their feet wet for them to be able to jump on these programs wholeheartedly. And what do I mean by that? You create similar content, right, in all these areas. And the content actually is introductory online. So they go to see, okay, if I want to become a carpenter, I can enroll on this 4-week course online, and then I will see video tutorials showing how to use a chisel, how to use a hammer, how to use whatever it is, right? And then as they watch it, you wrap a certificate around it, and then they get a basic certificate that would not make them become carpenters, right? That will not make them become professional carpenters. But what would have happened is that you would have aroused their interest. And now from there, once they pass the basic theory one, then they move to phase 2, which is practical led. Then the government uses master tradesmen, where they will go and have practical study, maybe understudy a master craftsman or master tradesman for probably a year or something, and after that they are now issued with a real artisan certificate. So the online version actually gets their feet where they can actually experiment with a few. They can actually experiment whether I want to be a carpenter, or I want to be an electrician, I want to be this, I want to be that. They can go through a bunch of them, but as they finish, they decide, okay, I'm very excited about this area, not that area, and that side they go and they are paired with a master tradesman or a master craftsman, and then they can go through their practical session and get a job. And once that is done, they get a little bit of a loan or a little bit of a grant from the government to buy some of the initial tools, and from that day they are employed. So that's the second leg. The third leg is entrepreneurial training. A lot of well-meaning, enterprising young people around. You'll be amazed. Look at all the kids on the streets selling stuff. They are all businessmen, right? But one of the things I notice is the ecosystem really does not lend itself very well for proper entrepreneurial training. There needs to be that holding of hand, that mentorship in business. There are people who've been in business for many years. They've learned the ropes, they've gone through all the hoops, and they know practically everything within the terrain. Why can't we could have that same platform that provides entrepreneurial training, video-based entrepreneurial training on, let's say, topics like, okay, how do you set up a new business in Ghana or any other country for that matter? What's the process, right? Kids don't know. Even older people who are running businesses don't know. And also, even people who are relocating from other countries to come into Ghana and other African countries, they do not know, right? So things like, how does Ghana customs work? What are the tax brackets? What are the nuances in terms of hiring and firing employees? How do I work with the export promotion agency if I want to export maybe some cash crops? Where do I start? That information is not anywhere. Right, so or that information is just littered, is scattered. It's not centralized, so you don't know. So if we put you put such content on such a platform that somebody who is aspiring to be an entrepreneur now comes in, it means that all the years that they were going to be making mistakes, you cut many of those years of mistakes off. They can hit the ground running because they have relevant information they can run with. Right, things like marketing. How do they market? How do they price their products? All these things are very important. And if we can have such a major training platform, if the mindset is going to be train, give them the massive skills that they need in these 3 areas: employability, artisanal skills, and then entrepreneurial skills, I believe it will unearth an avalanche or a tsunami of business activity and employment activity within Ghana and many other countries of that nature. All right, great. So if you enjoyed this this video or this content, I have many other content like that, and I want you to actually click on this video right here, which is on a topic, very interesting topic, called how to get a job as a new graduate in the toughest job market. If you follow that, no matter how tough the job market is, you follow that script, you will get a job. I want you to watch that video, and I will see you on the next episode. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.